of Major Investor, and today's topic is market cap for SHIB. If you're interested, please stay tuned and we'll be right with you. Thank you for tuning in to Major Investor, and Will is your host. Hello, everybody, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from wherever you are in the world, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Major Investor. Anyway, we're going to talk about SHIB's market capitalization, and why is it so important for everybody to understand why everybody is telling you not to buy SHIB, because SHIB's got so much supply and not enough demand. And the truth of the matter is, it's the actual opposite. And what does market capitalization mean? And how much money would you need for it to reach 1 cent, 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, $1, $2, $10? What kind of market capitalization are you looking at? And why is that so important in the world? And how come everybody says it's an impossibility? Well, the truth of the matter is what you have to look at are the numbers. Okay, so there's 1.3 million holders in the world that hold SHIB. Now, that being said, that's 70% of what SHIB is about. So how much is that in truth? Well, that means that there's about 189, 200 trillion that's being used on a daily basis or weekly or monthly basis that's being used for trading back and forth. This is what you're getting on this trading volume back and forth every single day. So the market capitalization is based on a couple factors. The truth of the matter is the 1.3 million holders hold majority of the SHIB, over 400 trillion tokens. Now that is insane. In my opinion, that's insane because that's less than 1/1000% of the population of the world. And for them to make a statement saying that it'll never be worth, it's ridiculous. For it to say that it will never be worth $1. You can't make that assumption. Everything's based on what people want to make in something. So let's say if we had 200 million people that try to buy SHIB right now, 200 million would only get about approximately 500,000 tokens. Okay, not even a million tokens, 500,000 tokens. 500,000 tokens at this price, you know what your price target is? $5. Okay, I'm just saying. So you have 200 million people that the price target's $5, and the rest of us it wouldn't even have to get to a cent. And then we're multi-millionaires to multi-billionaires, depending on how much you own. But for those that have been holding it for day one, and they're multi-millionaires right now, 21 million if you had 2 trillion tokens. And Binance has got 46 trillion tokens. But the problem is that unloading those tokens is a problem, right? People don't understand is what drives SHIB. Okay, well, Vedek Buterin wrote off 90% of what he had. And he used that as a donation purposes. As a business, you can do that. He could have wrote it off on goodwill, 25% of it off to goodwill in the Canadian market, but he didn't. What he did was he wrote off 90% of what he had for a donation. Now, in Canadian laws, donations for a company go against everything that you've made. So it works the same as if you had capital gains. So me and you, we have capital gains. We want to write off half of it because the government wants half of it. Well, instead of paying the government, you burn it or reduce it by sending it to a dead-end wallet. That dead-end wallet is still a wallet that counts as a loss, a capital loss. So it helps out the whole community. Plus, it helps out each individual holding because it drives up demand based on the amount of money or amount of liquidation that just happened within the SHIB community. So every single person on the planet should be doing the exact same thing, thinking the same thing. Once it gets to my price target, I am going to liquidate half of my assets depending on what the government wants. So if the government wants 30%, I liquidate 30%. Then I sell it after I liquidate. Now I don't do it right away. I want to see the price go up because I reduce the supply by this much. It's the same thing. You're going to lose the money anyway. No matter how you look at it, you're going to get back to the government, the fiat currency that is basically overspending it anyway, or you're going to go back and help out the SHIB community. In my personal opinion, I'd rather help out the people who got me there rather than help out somebody who's robbing me blind on taxes. And because they're overspending their habits, I'm going to help pay them overspending their habits. It's no-brainer, in my opinion, that I'm going to help out the whole SHIB community who helped me get to where I am today. That's just the whole prospectus of it, and that's what people are missing when it comes to the SHIB and the SHIB community, is they're missing the whole point. They're not seeing the whole thing, and your market capitalization is based on a couple factors, right? So 1.3 million holders are holding 70% of it. That's insane, in my opinion. And why is that? Well, because it's not recognized throughout the world. And here's the other thing that I don't understand with the market capitalization on the same topic, is that the world is divided on cryptocurrencies because they can't regulate it, okay? I understand. You don't want everybody to buy, like, for one individual to own 50% of a token or a institution is impossible. Because if you're an institution, you can't hold any more than 10 to 20%, depending on which country you're presiding in. SHIB is a complete currency that is depleting with no governance. So the governance factors into every single coin, every single token, every single fiat currency out there. They can print as much as they burn. Okay, they print as much as they get rid of. They can print even more money based on their debt loads. So they want to increase their debt load because they want to increase their projects or help out with certain states. Usually it's with world economy, right? So if the world economy major development happens, a country gets nuked, right? You have to give aid to that country. That money comes from somewhere, okay? But they don't tell you the backdrop of that they have to charge X amount of dollars over and above that because we have to do appropriations. Now, those appropriations are over exceeded, okay? So, yeah, it's going to cost us, let's say it's going to cost $100 million to do funding in a country that just got bombed, okay, to rebuild that country. They're borrowing 5 times that to build 100 million. So now it's $600 million that they've asked for. They get the 600 million, 100 million goes towards that aid. Where does the other 5 million go to? It goes to infrastructure. No, it goes to wherever the hell they want to associate it with. Normally, it would be the people who help them get into power. So instead of helping them, why don't we help ourselves, right? They are showing that they cannot look after money. So how do we want to show them that they can't look after money? We want to take on that money ourselves? Yes, we want to help our community, right? We want to grab onto our community and hold it tight because we want to make the money. We don't want to give it away to countries, to fiat currency that's continually burning through it at our expense. So why would we want to do that? That's why I said, if they're asking for 50%, no problem. You know what? I'll give you 50% of what I owe in taxes, but first I'm going to burn 50% of it, and then you decide whether or not I have to pay taxes on it. They don't, because it's a loss, it's strictly a loss. It's not given, it's not a donation, it's a capital loss. You invested in something, it lost you money. And then you say, I tried to get it back, I can't get it back. So it's a loss. It's an absolute wash, okay? Then you sell yours at a higher price because you now liquidated all your holdings or half of your holdings into SHIB, it should in turn drive the price up. Now, the market capitalization is true. At 589 trillion tokens, theoretically would be more money in the world than what's available in the world currently. But if you look at what's in the world, you'll start to realize that their fundamental exchanges aren't worth squat. The dollars aren't worth squat. The yen isn't worth squat because it's based on their debt to GDP. So if their GDP is this amount, X amount, and their debt is 10 times or 1 time or 1.5 times, even if it's 1.2 times or 1.1 or 1.0009, that means you cannot service that debt. That debt is continually growing, and there's no way of servicing that debt. So it's like you taking on a mortgage, and your monthly income is $4,000, and then going to the bank and saying, well, I want to buy this house, or I have this house, but it keeps losing money every year. So, and then you go to the debt bank and say, I need a loan so I can do some service to the house. They give you the loan, right? No, they ask you what your debt load is. What's your serviceable debt load, so that we know that you're going to pay us back. Well, the banks don't, the Bank of Canada doesn't have that. The Bank of US doesn't have that. The Bank of China doesn't have that. What they do is they have serviceable debt by the GDP. That's you and me paying taxes every single year. And then looking at it going, okay, this is what you pay, and this is what you want to borrow. This is what you pay, and this is what you want to borrow. Okay? How are you going to service that debt? You're not going to be able to service that debt. So the dollar is actually worthless at that point. If you cannot service that debt, your dollar is worthless. There's no way you can service it. You're just prolonging the inevitable. So unless you come up with a plan that's going to reduce that amount of holdings or security debt, there's no way you're going to be able to service it. So therefore, your dollar is worthless. So that market capitalization they're talking about, it's why gold went from $198 all the way up to $2,000, which should be sitting at around $3,000 to $4,000 right now, but it's being manipulated lower. And how did it grow so fast? Because there's no way of servicing that debt load. Therefore, it drives the price of gold up. Now, because the gold value or gold bullion is in U.S. currency, which is useless and worthless as a fiat currency, and then the banks are telling you, get out of crypto, get out of crypto, get out of crypto, because it's unsecured debt. It's unsecurable. But the truth of the matter is their fiat currency is worthless, and they want you to put their money back into fiat because it's worthless, and they need all that money to be able to focus on the renewables. So putting your money, grabbing your money from every source that you possibly can, buys them some more time because they're able to use that money to get loans. Now that loan is based on, again, unserviceable amount of debt. So if you understand what's going on, that you understand 589 trillion, yes. If you're looking at it on a dollar basis, yes, it's impossible. But what you're looking at is an infinite understanding that SHIB is actually worth more than the US dollar is right now. That is the 100% truth, okay? So even if it's at a dollar, because the US fiat currency isn't even worth what SHIB is right now, that's insane, right? And that we only have 1.3 million holders. That should scare everybody into buying SHIB. I'm sorry, but it should be bringing in FOMO. The only reason why that is because I have no idea. The message is it's getting distorted. Everybody wants you to buy other tokens. Everybody wants you to come check out this token. It's coming out. It's brand new. It's shiny. It's got a new logo. Everybody's getting behind it. There's huge community behind it, and this community is awesome. And it's going to build the next meme, big boom, and it gets the support and it gets everybody in his attention, because once you get 20,000 people behind a project, yes, it will move it, absolutely. Especially if they have $10,000 to $15,000 they want to invest in it, which is beyond me. Why you want to invest that much money into something? Because if you hold more, it means it's harder to get rid of it. Once it goes down, it drops like a stone. And everything that goes up really fast is an opportunity to short it, because it'll go down just as fast. That's my opinion, of course. Remember, this is not not investment advice. Anything under a penny, right? I know that the U.S. fiat currency isn't worth anything. Canadian dollar isn't worth anything. Japanese yen isn't worth anything either. 4 times national debt. That's 4 times the GDP in debt. Okay, if you're looking at it 4 times, it's got to give, right? I mean, that's the thing. If they're not investing in SHIB, they just don't know what SHIB is. That's the thing. Because if it was me and it's my country and I look at SHIB and I go through all the fundamentals of what SHIB is and I break it all down, I'd be like, how come no one's done this? How come no one has tried to buy the whole friggin' supply of SHIB? And then we can reduce the piss out of it down to 5 billion. We reduce it down to 5 billion. We hold 5 billion tokens ourselves. The 800 million tokens that are outstanding, I don't really care about. But we own 5 billion left. Okay, if we own that after we've liquidated it all the way down to 5 billion, and we own 5 billion SHIB, now we set the price. So the price can be whatever the hell we want. It can be $67. It can be 100, 120, 130. And we can do that in increments. We can issue so many tokens in different time periods so we can drive the price up. And then doing so will increase all those adoptions that we've taken on over the years. Now everybody's going to start using their tokens to buy goods and services. They're going to use their tokens to pay off their mortgages, they're not going to change it over to fiat currency right away. You know why? Because that fiat currency ain't worth squat. So they can transfer it to another token, absolutely. They can put it in put so much in a cold storage, put so much in a DeFi wallet, put so much in this, put so much in that, have so much on the credit card, have so much over here. But they will not go back to fiat currency. The reason why they won't is that fiat currency is unpredictable, it's unstable. Therefore, at any moment, they could collapse it, drop it, all the dollars are gone, everything going back to the gold standard, and then have to go and print more money because you have to liquidate the whole supply and start all over again. If you don't believe me, look at China. China's done it at least 3 times, guys. 3 times China has done it, where they've completely gotten rid of their dollar because it was worthless. Same thing what happened in Zambia. Okay, I'm saying it wrong. I'm going to get in trouble. Zambia. Same thing happened to them. They were giving out 10 billion, whatever, pesos, whatever it was, in Zambia dollars. Anyway, I'm going to get in trouble for it because I mispronounced it 3 times. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But that's where I'm going with this, with the market capitalization. And this is why it takes so long to get this out. And I'm sorry that these videos are going to be very long when it comes to this kind of stuff, because everybody has to understand what is going on and why people are saying what they are with the market capitalization. And the only reason why the market capitalization is so high is because of the amount of supply. But if you look at the amount of holdings that people have, is ridiculous. Like, it should be roughly around 30 to 40 times that, right? 40 million wallets should be holding SHIB. 80 million wallets, 100 million wallets, 200 million wallets. They should be trying to get away from the fiat currency, get into a non-governance currency that cannot print anymore. It cannot reverse stock split it. It can't reverse coin split or token split. They can't do a private placement to burn all the investors with more liquidity, increasing the amount of shares outstanding. Those type of things are bad for all the companies out there, because this is what they do. SHIB is like they're buying back their currency every single day. So when we have more and more companies coming on and doing the exact same thing, the faster we'll get to where our target price is. The faster we'll grow, the more people will come on, the higher the wallets will be. People will understand that now, instead of going back to fiat currency, they'll start using SHIB as the main source of their income and their main source of how they do their transactions. Hey, this is just my opinion. You can take it with a grain of salt. This is for entertainment purposes only, and this is why the videos are so long, because market capitalization isn't just one focus on one little aspect of anything. Yes, right now, with the fiat currency being the way it is, in order for us to get to $1, we would have to be worth approximately 10 times what the world economy is working with right now as far as money capitalization. But what they don't understand is that fiat currency that they're putting all this focus on is worthless. And it's worth even less than SHIB is right now. And yet they're still going back and forth saying this is where the market. It's all relative to what is actually going on in the world. And the world economy that they don't understand is unserviceable debt loads. Now, SHIB doesn't have that problem. It's got the reverse of that. So if you think about it, it's the reverse side of the U.S. economy. It's the reverse side of the Canadian economy. It's the reverse side of Japanese company. That's why aren't they getting into it? Because they don't know about it. And then how many people are going at the same idea saying they just don't get it? And why is everybody flocking to SHIB so much? Because SHIB is the way. Because eventually it will be worth more than anything. Because once this whole perspective of how people look at certain things, everybody's going to want the token. Because once it's gone, it's gone. And no one understands that concept. And I was trying to tell this before in my videos, but because of my lack of people that come on and view it, I can't possibly help you out. And I'm sorry, but if the message doesn't get out there, how are you going to help people out? How are you going to make them understand what's going on and how they look at what is needed to be looked at as far as market capitalization? And when people say, "Oh, it'll have to reach astronomical proportions in order for it to get there," well, we can either reduce it, and by reducing it, it's going to be the same bloody problem, because by the time the 1.3 million holders, they're going to own all the capital in the world. They're going to own all the capital in the world. There's only not even an eighth of a percent of the population of the world owning SHIB, and everybody else is owning Bitcoin. Oh, but Bitcoin, they're not printing anymore. Trust me, they're printing it. Ethereum, printing it. Cardano, Matic, any one of these companies, if they take on a new project, they need to raise capital. And because they're governed, they can do this. They can raise as much capital as they need. Do they need your support? Absolutely not. They don't. They run the control of the board because they have all the share, or they have all the tokens. Okay, they have majority of the tokens. Anything that's going to tell them that they don't have it, they're part of the development team. If they need to raise the capital, they're no different than the banks. They're no different than the companies. They're no different than the rest of them in the world. Okay, this is the thing. And the same thing with the ecosystem. They don't support SHIB burns. Why? They don't want to take away from their coins. You understand where it's coming from? Like Blaze did it too, right? It takes away from their token, so I don't want to help SHIB. I want to help my own token. But they don't realize is that doing that, they're actually, it's like a double, yeah, you're reducing your supply. Congratulations. But what's going to happen later on when you run into financial problems, this is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to have to mint a whole bunch of tokens because, we overburnt our supply. We don't have enough, people to support our token. And that's the bottom line, everybody. If you don't have the support to support your product, you lose the product. And when you're in a product of 3,500 different tokens, or 30,000 tokens out there, or 30, that's 30,000 currencies, right? Potential currencies. But they're not treating it currencies, they're treating it like companies. Well, those companies is like printing money, and you fall back into the fiat currency fiasco. And that's the problem with those. If you're not, every single company on the planet, you want to get solidified, you want to build on that relationship, you need to buy SHIB. Every single company needs to buy SHIB. Now, because the number is so low of wallets, that means they're not. And they don't get it either. But they need it because it's the only way to back up their currency. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are reducing your supply every single time, doesn't matter how much, eventually everybody's going to come on board and say the exact same thing. How come I didn't get into this sooner? Because it's the only way that I'm going to guaranteed to make money. The only way I'm going to be guaranteed to make money. Every single company on the planet has to do the exact same thing. Because if they don't, because they're overspending, and over liquidating and over taking majority of the risk on other companies that are based in fiat currency, based in other currencies that aren't going anywhere. That money goes poof, their business goes poof, everything goes down. Okay? So the only protection they have is to get into something that has no chance of printing, any chance of replenishing their supply. And the only one that does that is SHIB. And I'm sorry, everything else can and everything else will, because that's what they can do when they get into trouble. And that's the problem with it. When you get into trouble, you have to borrow to go in and bail yourself out. And you buy yourself some time so you can survive. Absolutely. Terra Luna is doing this exact same thing. They're telling them, hey, we need 100,000 every quarter to survive. Okay? They make that, but they don't have any more money to burn. Okay? We make it, but I'm sorry, we would love to help the community out, but we can't because we need that money to survive. SHIB doesn't have that problem. SHIB will never have that problem. SHIB's only problem is, does it have enough confidence for investors to invest in it? And that's the bottom line. And this is Will, your host. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for coming on board and checking out what I had to say. I hope that you take this with a grain of salt. It's just for entertainment purposes. Hopefully we can make you laugh, have a little giggle, take part in something, and maybe I'm full of crap. Hey, let me know. Comment below. Say what you got to say. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I look forward to meeting you and talking with you in the near future. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. Take good care of yourselves. Live long and prosper. Let's try and make 2023 the eye-opener year for the whole world. I want to focus on getting the message out about SHIB and why I'm invested in it and why I think that everybody in the world should be invested in it. But again, it's your money. Treat it like a lottery ticket at this point because it's so low. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, what's $10 to you, right? Exactly, $10. It's affordable everywhere in the world, guys. That's all I got to say. Anyway, cheers. Wishes all the very best. Love everyone. And that's my message to you. Thank you. Good night.